اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين سيما بقية الله الأعظم روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you everyone for joining in. Today's topic is going to be laughing and crying. Laughing is very natural to us. In fact, it's so natural that it is something that's particular only with human beings, with insan. Animals don't laugh. Animals cannot laugh. They might be named laughing hyenas, but they actually don't laugh. The only creature that laughs is human being. And Allah attributes that to Himself. He says in the Quran, وَإِلَى وَأَنَّ إِلَى رَبِّكَ الْمُنْتَهَى وَأَنَّهُ هُوَ أَضْحَكَ وَأَبْكَى. To Allah is your goal, and He is the one who makes men laugh, meaning people laugh and people cry. So both laughing and crying is attributed to Allah. Allah says, I'm the one who makes you laugh and I'm the one who makes you cry. So when we look at these two things that we're all guilty of, or we all do many times, we need to look at it. What is the etiquette behind it? How should we laugh? How should we cry? What should we laugh about? And what should we cry about? And what we shouldn't be laughing and crying about. So that's what I want to discuss about today. Laughing and crying. Let's go at it right away. First of all, I want to go to crying. Now, crying is something that as a believer, as a mu'min, and as a follower of Ahlulbayt, we see that it is one of the things that we are used to, crying for Ahlulbayt. Tears are important to us and we know that. But in hadith also, and in ayat and hadith and in the divine revelation, we have seen the importance and relevance of crying. Before I go into the useful and the useless crying, let's first of all look at the importance and the reverence that divine revelation has given to the idea of crying. Let me go at some of the hadiths. One of the things that obviously if a person cannot cry, it's condemned. If someone is unable to cry, it is condemned. We have a hadith from Rasulullah. It says, min alamat al-shaqa jumud al-ayn. It is from the hardness of the heart that a person is unable to cry. Inability to cry is because of being hard-hearted. So not being able to cry is something that is condemned. So Islam encourages us to cry, but obviously for the right reasons. The crying should be for the right reasons, because crying is something natural. It comes to us. And it must be for the right reasons. We need to look at the reasons as to why I am crying. What is the reason for me to cry? But the value of it cannot be underestimated. Let's look at some of the hadiths regarding how valuable crying is. He says, وَأَدْرَكَ مَنْ بَكَى مِنْ خَوْفِكَ مَرْهُومًا. Those eyes that cry out of fear. Out of fear, those eyes are blessed. Allah blesses those eyes that cry out of fear. So crying is a source of blessing. Imam Bakr alayhi salam has said that if a member of a community cries, anyone in any community you have, if someone exists in a community or a caravan or a group of people who cries, then Allah sends His mercy on the whole community. Yes. For example, let's say that you are going for ziyarat, you're going in a group, and if one person in that group is someone you see that he cries, that tears flow because of the love he has for Allah and Ahlulbayt, whatever happens, you see, he cries. Sometimes we are unable to cry, but we see that we have someone who does cry, who has a soft heart, and he cries. Allah then what He does, not just that He blesses that person and sends His mercy on that person, but Imam Bakr is saying that Allah will send mercy on the whole group that he goes with. So if in one center, for example, there's one person who cries, Allah sends His mercy, His rahmat on all the people in the community. So really, it's one of those things that Allah has given importance to and wants us to cry. And I'll mention why later. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that when you cry, at the minute you cry for any reason, make dua. Make dua and talk to Allah at the time you cry. Allah accepts it right away. Whenever you cry, that's when the door of acceptance of duas is opened. Imam Sajjad again, he says that 2 drops are very precious. 2 drops are very precious. The drop of blood spilled in Allah's way. When you do jihad and you spill a drop of blood, it is precious for Allah. And the drop of tear in the solitude of the heart. When you are alone and that emotion overcomes you, divine inspiration comes upon you and you see a tear come out of your eyes, these 2 drops are the drop of blood in Allah's way and the drop of tear for Allah's sake. And in another place, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, the only thing that has no weight is a tear. Tear, Imam Sadiq is saying, has no weight. When you see your tears, you see they hardly weigh anything. Less than water. They weigh nothing. So Imam Sadiq is saying that the only thing that doesn't have weight is a tear. And one teardrop can extinguish an ocean from the hellfire. Yes. A teardrop can extinguish an ocean. You know, look at the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. The whole ocean will be wiped out and extinguished with one tear. That is powerful. It is powerful. It's amazing what this means. Allah, He speaks about it as the idea of crying in the ayat of the Quran. Let me read you some of the ayat of the Quran in which Allah emphasizes this as a habit of the prophets and the Anbiya, that they used to cry. They used to shed tears. He says, وَإِذَا تُطْلَى عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُ الرَّحْمَنِ خَرُّوا سُجَّدًا وَبُقِيًّا. And when the ayat of Allah are recited onto the people, onto them, meaning the Anbiya, when they hear Allah saying this, they fall down into sajda and cry. Bukiya, cry. This is a habit of prophets. You see them whenever they would do that. Allah, again, He says this in this ayat. He says, وَيَخِرُّونَ لِلْأَذْقَانِ يَبْكُونَ وَيَزِيدُهُمْ خُشُوعًا. He says, and they fall down on their faces weeping. Mu'mineen fall on their faces weeping, and it adds to their humility. It makes them humbler, brings them down, breaks away their arrogance. So here you can see from these ayat and hadith that I read for you the importance of tears, the importance of crying, and how important this is. Now, I'll just mention some places where it's useful and where it's useless to cry. Let's look at useless places for cry. We have in Hadith useless places where a person can cry, it's of no benefit. Number one, the first useless place for crying is Akhirat. Yes, my friends. If you want to cry, dunya and the life of this dunya is a very good place to cry. Yes. Don't wait till you die and don't wait until you get to the Akhirat to cry, because Allah is saying the crying there has no benefit. It's actually useless. So truly, if a person wants to cry and break down and break his arrogance, it is in this life he must do that. See, that's the reason why crying has been emphasized for. The reason it's been emphasized is because it is one of those things that breaks us down. In order to cry, we need to break down. That's why whenever they speak about crying, they said he broke down and cried. So in order to cry, you need to break down. You need to break down yourself, your nafs, your arrogance, your pride. It needs to break down, and then a person starts to cry. A heart that is hardened cannot cry. It needs to melt first. It needs to go through that rigorous process of life so that it can find its melting point and start to melt where tears can come out. This is why Allah wants us to cry. We cry because it breaks us. It humbles us. It makes us have more humility. Makes us realize that there is someone else in charge who's more powerful than us. That we need Him. That we need His help and His mercy. That's why crying is one of those things that creates that in us. So one of the things important about crying, do not cry or do not wait to cry until you die. It's useless to cry after death and on the day of judgment in the hereafter. That's one place. Second type of crying that is useless is crocodile tears. Yes, meaning that you'll see that some people just cry because they want to show that they are sad, but they're really not sad. So if you have crocodile tears, if you just are acting and pretending, it doesn't work. The crying has to be a result of your heart and your sincere emotion that's inside of you. Otherwise, if it's just pretending and you're crying or you're cutting onions, it doesn't work. That's not crying. Those are just tears that are not the result of your heart and your emotion. They are just the result of physical change. And the third place where crying is useless, or a third thing for which crying is useful, is dunya. Yes, if a person cries for dunya, meaning losing something, losing money, losing this is actually condemned. In fact, if you cry for dunya in prayer, that prayer becomes batil. Yes, if you cry in prayer, it's a very good thing to cry in prayer. But if you are crying for dunya, I lost my job, or I'm going through this problem, I have a ticket I have to pay. So this is something that is not liked, condemned. In fact, it breaks your prayer. So this is useless. And so now these three places I mentioned to you are useless to cry. Akhirat, pretending, and number three is for dunya. Now let's go to crying that is beneficial for us, that is useful for us. I noted down 6 places where crying is a good thing. 6 things that you should cry for. I wrote it down for you so that we can, hopefully in this month that we are in, look at ourselves and see, have we ever cried for such a thing? And if we ever do cry for such things, then it's useful and Islam encourages us. Number 1, for remorse from sins. If you have done something wrong, if you have done haram, if you have disobeyed Allah, then crying for it is something that is valuable. It is encouraged. Whenever someone cries for doing something wrong before Allah, for his sins, for ma'siyat, for guna, this is something that Allah loves. And we should try to do that. One of the elements of istighfar is crying. In fact, Imam Ali said that you should cry so much. You should cry so much that your body becomes dried whenever you do a sin and want to do istighfar for it. So, for sins, number 1. Number 2, fear of akhirat. Crying in akhirat is useless, but if you cry from the fear of akhirat, from your death, from accounting of your actions, from the bridge that you have to cross, from anything that has to do with your real life, it's worth crying for, because that is real life. And crying for a temporary thing, which is this life, is really bad. But crying for your real life, which is akhirat, that's the place where we are really going to live. And anything that hurts that, and anything that is going to damage that, we should be crying for it. So, in fear of akhirat is a good thing to cry. Number 3, for the love of Ahlulbayt. Yes, crying for the love of Ahlulbayt. No explanation for this. We know that, and the emphasis of that cannot be lessened. For any tear for Imam Hussain, you know how much that's worth. The one tear is like a jannat. Anyone who sheds a tear is jannat. Allah just gives out jannat. If a person sheds a tear, not a lot, a tear for Imam Hussain. Number 4, reverence of Allah. Man khafa maqama rabbihi. Some people have that respect of Allah in their heart. Whenever they feel that awesome and that great place that Allah has, and recognize themselves in front of Allah, that emotion they're overcome with, and they cry because of that, and they shed tears because of that, that is invaluable. That is invaluable. Number 5, separation. Whenever you separate from your beloved, in this case Allah or our Imam, your separation, we have a whole dua nudba. Nudba means to cry. Nudba means to cry. So we have a whole dua nudba for what? Because this is the crying because of the separation between us and Imam Zaman. And we are encouraged to cry for this separation, to feel this separation, to really intensely understand what it means, and the heart should feel it. That's why it's so important for us to cry. Number 6, the last thing I'll mention today regarding crying is for virtues. Whenever you see that you want a virtue, any type of virtue that you want to attain, you want bravery, for example, you want to be courageous, for example, and if you cry for it, then this is a good thing to cry for. Any type of virtue and akhlaq that you want, you should cry for it. Crying, my friends, is one of those things that helps us to make our akhlaq and the things that we want to gain, it strengthens that in us. It's like nailing in an idea inside our nafs. When we cry, then it's like nailing in that idea and making it strong in us. Any kind of good thing, you want to nail it in there, and you want to screw it in there, and you want to make sure that that idea goes inside there and sticks there. You do that through crying. The more you cry about something, the more it's going to become a part of your life. So that is regarding crying. Let's move forward now to laughing. Laughing, we are in the culture that we are from, everyone is used to laughing. And a lot of times we don't know if laughing might be good or laughing might be bad. Allah says that He is the one who makes you laugh. So that doesn't mean that all the wrong things are there also. It's like, for example, He is the one who guides you. By guiding you, you're the one who's making the decision. So if you don't choose the guidance, then you're the one who's at fault. Laughing, Allah, yes, has given the ability to you to laugh. For human beings, He has given them the ability to laugh. But also now He has set parameters as to where you should laugh, how you should laugh, which are the places to laugh at, and where you need to control yourself. I'm just going to go through harmful laughter. 9 places where it's harmful to laugh, or this type of laughing is harmful to you and it's not right for you. Let's go through those types of places that we have. Number 1, excessive laughter. Laughing excessively. This is something that we know and have understood that through hadiths of many hadiths. Imam Ali says that there are 3 things that take a person away from Allah: overeating, oversleeping, and over laughing. 3 things that take you away from Allah. If you see yourself sleeping too much, it's time for istighfar. If you see yourself eating too much, it's time for istighfar. And maybe that's why after iftar everyone does istighfar. Because usually at iftar time, we see that we do tend to overdo it. So overeating takes you away from Allah. It defeats the purpose of fasting. And 3 is over laughing, meaning laughing too much. Excessive laughter. It takes you away from Allah. You see that in your spiritual state, it hurts you and it brings you down. Let's see where Allah, He speaks about it in the Quran. He says, Inna Allaha la yuhibbul farihin. He says that Allah does not like those who are overtly exultant in their laughter. Overly happy, when you see that a lot of times we become overly happy. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said that whoever laughs excessively will cry excessively in the hereafter. Whoever laughs too much here will cry too much in akhirat after they die. Subhanallah. Imam Ali said that excessive laughter destroys faith. Excessive laughter destroys iman. Kathratul dhahak yamhul iman. It destroys, it takes away, it burns away iman. So excessively laughing is not a good thing. And one of the reasons when you look at it, excessive laughter is bad. And it is true because it has to do with our nafs and our akhlaq that is deep within us. Whenever we laugh too much, it is a sign of imbalance in us. And it creates more imbalance in ourselves. People, for example, if they get happy by laughing, then they need to question themselves, why do they need to laugh to get happy? Happiness is a different thing. Laughter is a different thing. And many people, what they do is that they, in order to attain happiness, they think that it comes through laughter. It doesn't. In fact, laughing excessively leads to a fall. It's like taking a drug. When you take a drug to feel good, there's a downside to it. And that downside is terrible. At that moment, you don't feel it. But when it does come to you, it's going to feel terrible. And that's exactly what happens with excessive laughter. When people laugh too much, they have to wait that something is going to happen now that I'm going to cry, especially if you're a believer. You know why mu'min has to go through this? Because of the fact that Allah rectifies a believer right away. He doesn't let him harm himself too much. Whenever a mu'min does anything wrong, something that might harm him, you see Allah comes and He does things to him, changes things that might be a little bit hard at that time, And you might feel it, you might feel the hurt, but it's for our own good. Allah does that and changes it. So that's why whenever you're laughing too much, you should always be thinking about it in your mind, you know what, something's going to happen to me now. I better be careful. Because things are going to change now. Allah is not going to let go of this, because as a believer, Allah is taking care of me. He's looking after me. So that's why laughing too much is one of those things that we need to be careful about. Number 2, place where it's wrong to laugh, and that is in joking about other people. Whenever you joke as a joke, it is something that is condemned. It is regarded as a very ugly act. We have a hadith from the Prophet. He says, وَيْلٌ لِلَّذِي يُحَدِّثُ الْقَوْمِ فَيُكَذِّبُ لِيَضْحَكَهُمْ. That woe unto that person, lanat on that person who talks and lies to make people laugh. If you, for example, the reason that you want, and you're laughing and you're lying in order to make people laugh, as let's say, for example, a comedian wants to make people laugh by lying, then this is a person that Rasulullah sends lanat on. It is something that is disgraceful, because it lowers, on and off, right away as we see it, it lowers the morale, it lowers the akhlaq and the standards of people. Whenever you see that you joke about others and laugh about others and lie to make jokes about others, it lowers the standards and morals. Even if it's for the right reason, we should not be joking or laughing at others. Yes, this goes to a lot of our own people also, who, for example, might bring this concept of joking around under the concept, a holy concept and sacred concept of tabarra. And they take this idea and they place it in that. No, tabarra does not mean that you joke around and you laugh, because that ruins the environment. That destroys the credibility of the truth. It is a serious matter. Tabarra is a serious issue. Wrong has been done, injustice has been done. There's no room for laughing and joking around on the minbar and amongst people for this. That should not be the case amongst us. Whenever we want to talk about something serious, and tabarra is for serious things, they're enemies of Allah and Ahlulbayt. When we want to talk about it, we talk about it in a serious tone. We talk about it as facts, not to just make jokes of people or put them down. That is not, in this dunya, that's not the akhlaq of the Prophet, Imams, or believers. When we want to talk, we maintain our credibility. What laughing does is that it destroys our credibility. When we laugh too much, what happens? Or when we joke around too much, we lose our credibility. When we want to say something serious now, no one listens. Try it at home and you'll see. If you're always joking around with your wife or children or with your people, if you're known as a joker, no one takes you seriously when you are serious. And we as believers and as holders of the flag of Imam Hussein and Imam Zaman have serious things to say to the people of the world. And we can't be saying that if you're known as jokers and comedians. That's not the way to approach this. Yes, between us, amongst the believers, there's places where we, for example, are talking and we make people smile. And we get them to have a laugh. Laughing is not haram, but such laughing is wrong when you make jokes of others. Number 3, third place where laughing is condemned. Number 3 is funerals. Obviously, when you're in a funeral, that is understandable. No need to explain that. If someone has died and you go to a funeral, you don't laugh there. That is something that all people understand, and Islam also condemns laughing that is done at funeral when someone has died and people are mourning him. Number 4, where laughing is condemned, another place where laughing is condemned. Where is that? It is Man dhahaka fi rajhi aduwwina la yaqbalu Allah ta'ata arba'ina sana. He says, whoever laughs with our enemies, meaning with the enemies of Ahlulbayt, with the enemies of Allah, if you laugh with them, meaning laughing with them means that, see, when you laugh, you're condoning them, you're being okay with them. Hey, yes, I'm laughing with you. When you laugh like that with them, then it says that Allah will not accept your ibadat for 1 whole year. If someone laughs with the enemies of Allah and with the enemies of Ahlulbayt, just laugh with them, just to make them easy, then Allah will not accept their ibadat for 1 whole year. 1 year, the ibadat is useless then. Yeah, they still have to pray, but the ibadat will not be accepted. It will not be accepted from Allah. So it's very important that these are things that we are being told to pay attention to and to really look at and see we don't make these mistakes. Laughing with the enemies, it could happen anytime. Someone who's an enemy of Allah, you go and meet such a person who, for example, hates Allah or who hates Islam, who hates the Prophet. And in order to appease him, you laugh with him. He makes a joke and you laugh with him just to make him feel good. This is bad akhlaq and it's condemned. We have to be careful about that, because that's a whole year of worship. That's a lot of worship to go. All right. Number 5, fifth place where it is condemned to laugh is with your boss, with any boss. Boss in the sense of chief, leader, someone who's a leader or a boss of anything, right? It's not good to laugh with them. It's like it has the tendency of lowering your character. That whenever you, for example, see someone who's in charge and you always laugh because, this person is in charge over here, so I need to be nice to him. This sort of character is condemned. We don't want to be such a character where whenever we see someone who is powerful, that we get subdued in front of them and start laughing with them. That should not be us. If they are in charge of something, they are responsible for that. So they have to do whatever they have to do. Why should I try to appease them? Why should I try to be nice to them just because of that reason? So if that's the reason why you are laughing with someone who's in charge of anything, then this is condemned in Islam. Number 5. Number 6, laughing at believers. If you laugh at believers, meaning you joke about them, about what they do, this is condemned. He says, Inna alladhina ajramu kanu min alladhina amanu yadhakun. Allah says in the Quran, surely those who are guilty used to laugh at those who believe. My friends, mu'mineen are respected by Allah. Even if they are simple-minded or illiterate. Yes. If a person believes in Allah, he might be simple-minded, he might be illiterate, he might be anything like that. But you know what happens? If a person looks at their simple-mindedness that they have in their faith, because there's nothing wrong. I mean, there is something wrong with simple-minded. You should be sharp enough, but not everyone is going to be intelligent and sharp and savvy. Okay, some people are not, but they're still our brothers. They're still our family. They still are loved by Ahlulbayt. Bibi Fatima is going to do shifa'at of that person. Who are we to say, no, she's not? Of course. I mean, really, do you know how magnanimous Bibi Fatima is? She is going to do shifa'at of many people. And amongst them are simple-minded believers. Who are simple-minded, they're not too sharp, they haven't learned that much. They just know what to do to respect. Whatever they have, they respect it. It's good. Let them do that. We have many incidents and riwayat regarding such things. A person was making dua to Allah. In his own language, he was saying all kinds of rubbish. And he was addressing Allah as you would address some sort of a chump. Yeah, you did this to me. No, it's your problem, and you're the one who was there. And he's just talking like that, like random talk with Allah. And Hazrat Musa saw that, heard that, and he was really upset. He came to him and said, "What are you doing? That's not how you talk to Allah. If you want to talk to Allah, let me teach you." And he taught him a dua, very nice, eloquent, detailed dua. He says, this is the proper way of doing it. So he started reading that dua. And when Musa talked to Allah the next time, Allah says, "Musa, I'm upset at you." He says, "Why? I'm angry at you." "Why?" "Because that person used to talk to me. You stopped him from talking." "No, Allah, I just corrected him." He said, "You didn't correct him. I loved the way he used to talk to me." That was him. Now it's not him who's talking. He's not even talking to me now. He's just reading something you gave him. So simple-mindedness and being, gullible, this is not a problem in Islam or a moment, right? But you're still a moment. You believe in Allah. You believe in Ahlulbayt. It is there. So we want to rectify those type of things, but we should not be laughing at such people. There should not be a reason for us to laugh at these people. And when you do that, you fall under the category of being someone that Allah is going to put on that side and says, you are a criminal. Why? Because you used to laugh at believers. Laughing at believers is condemned. We should not be doing that. That's why a lot of people have habits. Maybe they're not the best habits. Maybe they're not all these things, but still they do it out of reverence. A lot of it has to do, for example, with azadari. In azadari, you see a lot of people do a lot of things. Now, some people nowadays who have learned more might think that, oh, look at our people, look what they're doing, this is laughable. And right away, they would laugh at such things. For example, like Zuljana, they will laugh. And you see that, I heard it many times from many people. They would laugh at what people do, that they give azan in the ear. This is how they respect that. The important thing is that they respect it in the name of Imam Hussain. It doesn't matter. Really, there is a respect that they have. And that's all they know how to do. That's good. And that's accepted. But for us to laugh, it makes us a criminal. Allah says that, "Inna alladhina ajramu," those who are criminals, "kanu min alladhina amanu yadhakun." They used to laugh at those who used to believe. So criminals laugh at believers, no matter what their actions are. And we have to be careful about this. And that's why these subjects have to be raised, so that we know our proper akhlaq in the way to deal with people. Laughing at believers is wrong. So let's go forward. Number 7. Seventh thing that you should not laugh at. Seventh thing condemned in terms of laughing is laughing at people who struggled in Allah's way. People who struggle in Allah's way and who give their jihad and who do jihad, instead of respecting them and valuing them, imagine if we laugh at them. So obviously this is wrong. It used to happen at the time of the Prophet, when people used to go for jihad with the Prophet. People who stayed behind used to laugh at them. They used to laugh at them. They're going out there at risk of dying, away from their wife and children. What a life is this? Right now we have many people who are there protecting the haram of Bibi Zainab, who are away from their families and everything. They have gone there. Who would laugh at them? How ugly would that be, to laugh at such people who are risking their lives in order to protect our sacred things? We should be respecting that, not laughing at it. So this is the seventh thing. Seventh place where laughing is condemned. If you see yourself ever laughing at such a thing, be careful, do istighfar right away. Number 8 is insulting people or offending people. Whenever, for example, you're with people and you offend them and you say things to them that people laugh at and you laugh at, it is wrong. I think I mentioned something like that before, so I'm going to go forward from here. Number 9. The ninth place where you should not laugh is aloud. Laughing aloud. is not the akhlaq of a believer. Imam Baqir alayhi salam has said this hadith. He says, إِذَا قَهْقَهْتَ فَقُلْ حِينَ تَفْرُغُ اللَّهُمَّ لَا تَمْقُتْنِي. He says that whenever you laugh aloud, it might happen. Sometimes you laugh aloud, it comes out loudly. See, smiling, giggling is good. Laughing also. But if you laugh aloud too much, then Imam says, as soon as you're done, okay, at that point, no, but as soon as you're done laughing, then right away say, Allah, forgive me. Allah, forgive me. Allah, please forgive me. Right away say this. This is the akhlaq of Islam. Every time you laugh out loud, and it could happen. I mean, you can't help yourself sometimes. It just comes out. Right away you say, Allah, please forgive me. Please forgive me. These are the akhlaq that Allah has given us in terms of how we need to behave so that we build our iman and we build our faith. This is some things that Allah has given to us so that we can take these things and put them in practice, because it is helping us. Some things we does not help us a lot of times, and we do wrong things and we end up hurting ourselves. So crying and laughing, both of them are from Allah. They're natural, but they are places where you should do it or you shouldn't do it, and they're akhlaq that are governing the method of how we should do these things and control ourselves when we are doing it. So that was it. That was the speech today. Inshallah, we will end it here. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you like these programs. If you would like to donate to help us bring these programs to you more often, please go ahead and donate. There's a scan code and a link that will help you to go to the right page in order for you to donate and give your charities to the Imam Ali Center. Thank you so much. May Allah bless you all and accept your fasting in the month of Ramadan. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Please recite a Surah Fatiha for your marhumin and the shuhada of Islam.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alayka ya Rasul Allah. Assalamu alayka ya khayra khalqillah. Assalamu alayka ya Nabiyillah. Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Assalamu alaykum ayyuha al-Imam al-Hasan wal-Husayn سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليك أيها الإمام زين العابدين ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي الرضا. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك أيها الإمام محمد الجواد. السلام عليك أيها الإمام العلي الهادي. السلام عليك أيها الإمام الحسن العسكري. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. الأمان الأمان الأمان. العجلة العجلة العجل يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليكم يا جميع أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد